Hey there and welcome. This is as always Mikhail or Michael speaking. Before I start this video, I want to say thank you all who decided to support me financially, be it through Patreon, PayPal or Super Thanks. I really appreciate your generosity, so thank you friends and have a blessed day. Now today's video I will start in Donetsk and, to be more specific, Avdiivka direction, where situation continued to quickly and significantly deteriorate for the Ukrainian defenders, with more Russian territorial gains to show. And as you can see, these are the territories that Russian forces were able to take control of within the last 24 hours. As you can see, those are quite big chunks of territory. With these territorial gains, Russians nearly captured 3 settlements in a row, and perhaps at the time of you watching this video, those settlements will be in full Russian control, as the situation on the front line is extremely fluid, and of course those settlements are Berdychi, Orlivka and Tonenke. First, let's discuss the situation in Tonenke, where as you can see Russian forces were able to capture a bigger portion of the village, with about 15% of it left to clear, with Ukrainian formations slowly retreating from the village. However, it seems that they are doing a fighting retreat. As forces pull away from the village, other Ukrainian formations counterattack to cover their retreating comrades from relentless Russian attacks. So at the time of recording, the battle for Tonenke continues, and it seems the result of it is more than obvious. Then let's move to Orlivka, where situation is actually nearly identical, with Russians taking control of about 80% of the village, with the rest of it becoming a gray zone. From here, Ukrainians retreated to the village of Semenivka, and as a recent report suggests, Russians are currently attacking within the village, taking more of it under their control, with obvious attempt to not allow Ukrainians to entrench themselves with Semenivka and enter this village as soon as possible. The situation for Ukrainian forces in Semenivka isn't looking good, because Russians are also advancing within Berdychi. As you can see, Berdychi itself is nearly captured by the Russians as well. Here Russians took control of most of the village, currently attacking in the direction of this farm and village of Semenivka. With it, we can see a pincer maneuver from Berdychi and Orlivka, with Russians attacking from both north and south, making the defense of this entire sector utterly useless, with Ukrainians fully retreating from this area. Now, due to the nature of fighting, it doesn't seem that Ukrainians will be able to hold on to Semenivka for a long time, because as you can see, it is currently being attacked from both sides, and it seems soon Ukrainians will be forced to retreat from this village as well. When I was making my last video, which was about 24 hours ago, the situation was desperate, but due to the reports of Ukrainians constantly counterattacking, a small chance of them solidifying front line along Berdychi, Semenivka, Orlivka villages was still present. However, this illusion was quickly shattered by the harsh reality, as here Ukrainians were unable to entrench themselves and stop Russians yet again. Here is where Ukrainians were planning to situate their second line of defense, as you can see along Berdychi, Semenivka and in front of Orlivka, using natural high ground in this area, but extremely quick fall of Lastachkina, Severne and now Tonenke, with subsequent collapse of Ukrainian defenses in Orlivka and Berdychi, made whatever fortifications Ukrainians had time to construct in this area utterly useless. Now it seems Ukrainians will continue to retreat, although fighting nevertheless, in attempt to buy as much time as possible, so that they can build up more fortifications along another line of defense that is situated along Novobakhmutivka, Solovyove, Novopokrovske, Persha Novoselivka and Mezhove, starting at this rail line and ending at these lakes. So, in conclusion, this was their second line of defense, which is currently being actively stormed by the Russians, and as you can see, Ukrainians were unable to stop Russians at this second line of defense, and now their most hope relies on the third one located here. Now again, one thing comes to mind: where are the better suited defensive positions, which Ukrainians claimed to have when they retreated from Avdiivka? Seemingly so far, they are not present all across this front line and are being hastily constructed on the third line of defense. At this point in time, not only do I want to know your opinion on this whole situation, when and where Ukrainians will be able to stop current Russian offensive and how far Russians will be able to get before they will be forced to regroup and take a small break. While you're at it, please consider supporting this video with a like, comment, and of course a subscription. Words cannot describe how important these actions are for this channel's growth. I really appreciate your support, and let's move on. From Avdiivka, let's move to the south and discuss situation around Ukrainian-controlled village of Nevelske, towards which Russians restarted their offensive operations, and as a result of successful actions, captured this chunk of territory to the southeast of the village. With this territorial gain, Russians are now in nearly full control over this tree line, which would allow them to attack in the direction of the village itself, so it seems the news of it being stormed will come shortly. From here, let's move further to the south and discuss situation around Krasnohorivka, towards which Russians restarted their offensive operations a few days ago, and as a result of that were able to successfully enter the village and initiate the battle for it. And here on your screen you can see exactly how much territories Russians were able to acquire within the last 24 hours. As you can see, not only they were able to establish a foothold within the village itself, but also advance along the open fields from this stronghold in the direction of the rail line, obviously in support of Russian attacks that are happening in the direction of Krasnohorivka. Ukrainian sources claim that Ukrainians reinforced this town with Special 3rd Assault Brigade, or also known Azov Battalion, and after series of successful counterattacks they were able to repel Russian attacks and force them to retreat. This is how this pro-Ukrainian map depicted the situation, with those territories coming in under Russian control within the last 24 hours. As you can see, they were less generous in giving Russians territory, and according to them, Russians are still pretty far away from the village itself. As fighting here goes on, Russians greatly increased activity of their aviation, dropping glide bombs on Ukrainian fortifications within the village, as you can see here on this video, destroying them, thus hindering Ukrainian defensive capabilities on this portion of the front. Now, Battle of Krasnohorivka is still in its early stage. However, yet again, this is another vector in which Russians decided to attack. From Krasnohorivka, let's move all the way to Zaporizhzhia and quickly discuss situation around Velika Novosilka sector, or to be more specific, situation around Russian-controlled village of Rabotino, where Russians attacked to the northeast of the village in the general direction of Rivnopol, while Ukrainians counterattacked from Novodarivka in the direction of Priyutne itself. Some Russian success is reported here in this area, however there is no territorial changes to report as of yet, but Ukrainians did make some territorial changes to the north of Priyutne, capturing those territories in the process. At a very last, let's discuss situation in Rabotino, where as you can see, as a result of Ukrainian counterattacks, Ukrainian forces were able to regain full control of Rabotino, as well as serious lines of fortifications located to the south of the village. Russians retreated to the previously owned positions and are seemingly preparing for yet another assault in attempt to re-enter and capture the village again. Like I said in my previous video, the fighting here in this area is especially relentless, with both sides show little to no humanity to each other, and constant territorial change in this area is a great example of that. Both sides are attacking with extreme persistence, and the balance of power is tipping to both sides simultaneously. With this, I end today's video. Hopefully it was to your liking and was informative enough. As always, humanity calls me to condemn all violence against human beings. Have a good day, and always remember, Russia will be free and great.